In this video I'm going to show you how to change the coil wires and spark plugs on your Harley-Davidson. This is a 1994 Harley-Davidson Fatboy. Should be the same on Fatboys or softails from 1990 all the way through 99. Went to the local Harley dealership, picked up my spark plugs, got the Screaming Eagle wires for it, and now I'm gonna open up the box, get out the parts, and take off the old and assemble. Okay, so as you can see, I have the plugs right there, Harley-Davidson plugs, and the Screaming Eagle wires, and a little bit of contact fluid for the connectors. You see that that's the part number and what it fits. Okay, so in order to take this cover plate off, I use a 5/16 ratchet. Just loosen that up. There's a bolt right here on this right hand side. There's also one directly underneath. I felt like it was really loose. Apparently not. There we go. Okay. One bolt off, and underneath here, and then get this bottom one off, and that will remove that chrome plate. Okay, to show you how simple this is, the chrome plate, as I continue to bang it up, just slides right on, so you don't actually have to completely remove the bolts, just loosen them up. That way you can pull that side cover off, that chrome plate, without banging it all up. And then your plug wires are easily exposed to just grab that wire and pull it off. It has a little boot on there. Sometimes you have to kind of loosen up that boot. It tends to seal on there pretty tightly. But yeah, they just pop right on there. And you just pull them right off the spark plug as well. Wire actually doesn't look too bad, but we're just going to replace it anyways, regardless. So get up here and pull this other plug off like that, and there's a little quick tie in there I'm gonna have to cut. Alright, it wasn't a quick tie, it was just a little wire holder there that pops right in the top up here. So you want to pull that off, and actually just sits right up underneath here and goes until a hole locks in. Interesting enough, you see the gauge of the wire is sizably better on the Screaming Eagle plugs or wires than the stock ones, so those look pretty beefy and good on there. Alright, so to give you a good idea of what this looks like down in here, you see that hole? Just get that snapped right back into place. And now I can just connect my wire back up, and it stays out of the way. Alright, so easy enough. All you have to do is take that new plug wire and work it into the place there as good as you can. And that boot goes right over and protects that wire. Like so. And now you've got your wires coming up and ready to connect to your new spark plugs. So let's pull those spark plugs and put the new ones in. Alright, to remove the spark plugs, you're going to want a 13/16 size spark plug socket to put right on the spark plug there. And get your wrench, put it on there into this isn't on there too tight actually. Probably can do it most of it by hand once you get it loose. But you want to do both the rear spark plug by the seat here. Wow, that thing's long. Take it out. Spark plug actually looks pretty decent. You want it to be not overly white, but not black either, to determine whether it's getting a too rich of a mixture, if it's dark black, or if it's too white, it's too lean. So spark plug doesn't look that bad. I'll pull the front one here now. Again, I worked it loose, and now I'm just unscrewing it the rest of the way by hand. Pretty impressed with 15,000 miles on this. I assume these are the original spark plugs. Spark plugs look to be in pretty good condition. Although I would almost wonder if the mixture is too lean because of how white it is, but doesn't look too bad overall. Alright, next what you want to do is you want to compare spark plugs for the old and the new. Make sure they're overall the same length and size and everything. That the Harley store didn't give you the wrong ones. These look like the original ones were champion spark plugs. So, I don't know. It's possible that they could have changed the spark plugs in this at some point in time. But regardless, we'll put the new plugs in and see how it works with the new wires on the coil. Alright, so I checked the gap on the older ones, and it looks like they're coming in closer to about 0.035, maybe 0.036. The recommended gap is supposed to be 0.038 to 0.043. So I'm going to set the gap on the new ones at the 0.04 mark on the dot, in between the 0.038 and the 0.043. Alright, so I set the gap at 0.04. Interesting enough, before I even set the gap, the spark plug was coming in right around what the old spark plugs were, around 0.035, 0.036. So I would venture to guess that the gap wasn't adjusted and the spark plugs were just installed, and those are aftermarket spark plugs. Another helpful thing to do is, for putting the new spark plugs in, put some anti-seize lubricant on the threads, but be sure to only get it on the threads. Don't get it on the end of it or too high, so use it sparingly. Alright, so you can see I got some of the anti-seize on there. Very light. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand tighten them down into the cylinder head. Highly recommend doing this by hand. don't want to strip out your spark plugs. Make sure it feels right as it's screwing in. It's screwing in freely, so you can get it to seat right down in there. All right, that's hand tight. Let's grab the other one. Come up over to the front here. Okay. And just let that seat right in there and rotate it down and in. Again, just hand tight. Just like that. Now I get my torque wrench out. We'll set the torque to 18 foot-pounds and we'll torque those down the spec. Alright, as you can see, I've set my torque wrench to 20 foot-pounds. Put my 13/16 spark plug ratchet on. And now I'll ratchet down the spark plug to the desired spec. There we go. Okay, so final step now is to come in and attach my new plug wires. Make sure it gets on the top of that plug really well. Come over to this one over here and reach it over and get it on there the same way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinstall my cover plate here, and we'll be set with all new plugs. And all it took to do this were just a few tools. Your 13/16 plug ratchet in socket, torque wrench, 5/16 small socket ratchet, your anti-seize lubrication, your plug gap setter, and a little bit of time and finesse, and voila!